me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report for, Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. Blessed and honored to have good friend and colleague Andrew McInnis here with us live from Orlando, Florida, enjoying the good life, as I'd like to say, a little March Madness, a little lacrosse soccer, and now just giving me a few minutes to catch up on how his trip is and how life in sunny Orlando is. And then we'll talk some Thursday pucks and we'll get him by the poolside before you know it. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Andrew McInnis.
Good afternoon. You can't see it. This is just a painting behind me, but looking outside, we're looking at, I think, 83 outside, poolside, heading to the ocean maybe tomorrow again. And this is thanks to you. So I got to thank you, Jeff, here on air for helping me set up with this. It's been awesome.
Hey, anything I can do. I when I was trying to preface what you were about to get involved in and the luxury of, having your own suite, it's your own little house right there, full kitchen. You can set up lunch, breakfast, dinner. You can stock the fridge. Don't have to go to Starbucks or Dunks. Head over to the barbecue. And then people are like, what are you talking about, Jeff? I'm like, you know what? Just get there. Then you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Well, it's just something it's just nice to, of course, it's nice to have when you go away to Dominican or somewhere to have an all-inclusive type of thing and you're just not worrying about food. But there's something about coming back to the room and being able to, we've been making smoothies every morning. We're grilling. We're having steaks. We're just, stock in the fridge, like you said. And this is my first time renting a car, honestly. Most of the time I ever travel anywhere, I just use Uber. So it has been nice to just take road trips. First time driving a Tesla, which is like my dream car. When I pay off my current car, sometime down the road, I want to get one of those cars. But it's been great. And all the activities too, really, on this resort, tennis, shuffleboard. It's been getting pretty competitive in this household.
Did I hear correctly? You rented a Tesla.
Yes, it has been a dream. I don't want to give it back. It's awesome.
Well,
and it was one of the cheaper ones too. The insurance, I found out later, though, isn't cheap, but the car itself actually surprisingly wasn't too expensive to rent. It's almost been torturous because I don't want to give it back. But one cool thing I will say, and they've changed it a little bit. Anybody that has one is already going to be like, okay, it's not that cool. But driving to the beach yesterday, look, everyone makes fun of me and says, oh, you're from the far East Coast. You're not from a busy, big city. You know what? It's true. I'm not used to 5-lane highways. I double tapped the left thing down and the car drove itself. Every few minutes I had to touch the wheel. The car was turning, stopping, accelerating. I was playing the music, looking around, enjoying the views. It's hard to trust it at first, but once you learn to trust it, I had a car drive me for 45 minutes by itself yesterday, and I don't want to go back to driving myself.
Whoa, and my daughter said, Dad, we want Teslas. We want you to get a Tesla. Mom wants, we want, and I'm just like, the trust factor. All my girls and the wife have driver's license. Ask them how many times they've driven when I was in the car with them. None. I just, and now
you're the boss. You're the chief.
And now to have a car drive on its own. I went to Los Angeles for a weekend once. I drove on the LAX twice. I'll never get on it again. And like you said, when you're not accustomed to the 4, 5, 6 lanes, the shuffling, and especially in Florida, they think it's Daytona 7 days a week.
Look, I'll tell you, not every Canadian is nice. That's a stereotype in itself. We're not, everybody's not. You'll meet some mean Canadians, but I will say this. When you drive in Canada, no matter where you are, it's a lot more hesitancy. When you're driving in Florida, they're cutting you off left and right. They could not care less. Like people here where I live, they're like slowly trying to turn into a lane. If they need to get into it, they're looking, they're trying to get the head signal from you. The only accident you might get into in Florida is somebody cutting you off because I saw somebody go from lane 1 to lane 5 in a matter of like 5 seconds. Like you just don't see that everywhere. That's why not only were we having a few adult beverages, but when I went to March Madness, there was not a snowball's chance in hell I was driving the car there, and also it's been fun driving the Tesla, but also I haven't really been able to enjoy it as much because number one, it's a rental car. And number two, it's madness out there driving. So I've enjoyed more so the quick trips to restaurants and things than actually the most stressful trip was from the airport to our first hotel when I was still trying to learn how to drive the damn thing. And what's stressful, Jeff, is like, how when you take your foot off the gas in your car, it still goes, right? In a motorized car, it stops. Like the car, it only goes if your foot is on the accelerator. So like when you go up to a stop sign, usually you take your foot off the gas and you slowly apply the brake. Here, if you're like 50 feet away and you start to take your foot off the gas, it will just stop. So you got to be careful of the guy behind you.
It was funny because when I did the Orlando trip with the girls a handful of Christmases ago, as I told you, each person had their day. Whatever you wanted to do was yours. If you wanted to go to Disney that day, we were going as a family. You wanted to go to Epcot, SeaWorld, whatever. I chose the Citrus Bowl. It was Michigan versus Alabama. One of the girls wanted to go down to Daytona Beach. I initially was going to say I wanted to go to South Beach. I wanted to go to Miami for the day, the early evening, and drive back. And I think it was, I don't know, 5.5 hours or something. I thought it was a lot closer, but I was thinking of you all of a sudden. Shit, you can say, hey, tell the bride we're going down to South Beach for the day. The car's going to drive itself. Wake me up when we get there.
And that's one thing too, Jeff, though. I will say that people complain about with electric cars. Even if you go to the supercharger, it still takes time. And so I love technology, but the girlfriend's saying, well, let's go. I mean, with my car, I could just fill it up in 2 minutes and we'd be on the go. But even with the superchargers, you got to plug her in, go walk around the mall and look around and come back out in 20 minutes. But yeah, you're right. Definitely going to be some room for looking around. Tomorrow, we're getting up at crack of dawn, going Disney World, getting some pictures with Goofy and Mickey, and going on the lazy river. So it'll be a good time.
Shout out to Chris Newman. What's up, Newmy? Enjoy your day. If you're coming by for dinner, give me the heads up. I'll throw the dogs and popcorn on for you like Saturday. Question, March Madness. What are you seeing? How's it treating you?
I realized that the more selective I've been, the better it's been. And you know that, and you're the same way. I mean, when you see people firing, it's like this. Just because you love something, it doesn't mean it loves you back. And I feel like a lot of people have to learn that about March Madness. You might love the board. Does not mean the board will love you. And there's, so many games every single day. Look, I've been having success with unders. I mean, nobody likes to bet unders. They're not fun to watch. Who wants to bet an under? But unless you're betting on a Gonzaga game, then your under always has a chance. Specifically, I'd say, Jeff, first half unders. If you're betting overs, I honestly would look towards an in-game number. I feel like early in the game, you're seeing teams figure each other out, waiting for players to get into the game a little bit, get their shooting stroke. And you can kind of get a good number in the second half number, or even wait till halfway through the first frame and just kind of wait till a team goes on a scoring drought, jump in on that in-game over. But I was at Duke, Tennessee. You don't want to force a pick on a game that you're at just because you're there. But I did like Tennessee getting points. And I'll tell you, the defense they play, it helped a lot that the referees put their whistles away. They must have, swallowed them, coughed them up. I don't know. They must have lost their whistle at halftime. They couldn't find out where it was, but it was beneficial to me because Tennessee was rough. They were aggressive. They protect the paint, and they completely shut down Duke. And when Duke couldn't score, and the funny thing is that Duke went to a 2-3 zone on Tennessee, and the second they went to a 2-3 zone, it was like Tennessee couldn't miss a shot from the outside. So it's been really exciting so far. I'm looking forward to the tournament. It's been so fun already, Jeff. We still have a lot more to get to. I mean, so many games. We were talking backstage about it, trying to figure out if we agree with some of these numbers, if we don't agree. And I was talking to you before saying I like Tennessee already, but I don't necessarily love this number. I think it is kind of where it is. So as we do, and as we talk about, there's actually going to be UFC on Saturday. There's going to be NHL on Saturday. Maybe I'll find a dance partner. Maybe I'll find a money line parlay for Tennessee just to move on in advance and different things like that. But there's lots of different games to look at, and totals as well. Who needs to bet a side? You've been great with the totals. When these sides are so hard to pick, it's still fun to look towards a total. So, what about you for this round here, Sweet 16? Are you betting a lot of the same teams you bet last round? Or are you mixing things up? What are you thinking?
I think the numbers couldn't be sharper. As you said, what we're trying to do is peel that onion back even more. We got robbed early in the tournament with the Maryland team total over when the guy missed the free throw with 4 seconds left. The Baylor, their opponent just didn't show up in the second half to push them. So it's really, really hard. We've gone from real successful in the overs department to having to change on the fly to grab some team totals. As you talked about, we had the Duke team total under against Tennessee. Also wrote up the fact that Tennessee was the side there. The one game that really sticks out to me, and Kelly in Vegas, you're welcome. I think Kansas State should be favored here. I know Tom Izzo said it so great. He goes, he's got a number like 24-7 in the second round. And he told his team very simply, hey, guys, go win round one for me. I'll take care of round two. And it's so right. When you only have 1 day to prepare for a Tom Izzo tournament team, you're not going to fare well. Well, I think that's taken it to the next level now in the Sweet 16. I think at worst, K-State should be a pick'em, maybe even 1.5 point favorite. So that's the only number that jumps out to me. The other one, listen, I got a UCLA future, but that number to me screams the Zags. Those are the two that stick out right now.
Well, I noticed this about Tennessee, and I noticed the same thing about K-State, Jeff. They are not a selfish team. They're very, very unselfish when things aren't going well, when shots aren't falling. Everyone talks about how well coached they are, and of course that reflects with how the players play. But I'll tell you what, there's always one more pass, one more look in the post, right? Help defense. There's always kind of that I've got your back mentality with K-State. And I've always said this, and I don't want to just crap on college sports or college basketball players in general, but compared to NBA or NFL or NHL, whatever it might be, the pros, I should say, the pros know how to knock it down when they can't score or when they're struggling to convert on chances. I find that you can see frustration levels start to rise on some of these college players. K-State, they could go 1 for 8, in a couple minute span, and they'll continue to play the same basketball they were playing a few minutes ago. And I feel like that's what really makes a really good team. Obviously, that reflects in their great coaching. So I'm right there with you on that one. I like K-State. Arkansas, UConn. I know you follow UConn pretty close. They're a team that everyone's been talking about. I've got a piece of Arkansas to win the whole thing. It was a great number. A lot of that is because of you and our talking behind the scenes, and I appreciate that. So it's going to be kind of weird. It's conflicting sides. I mean, you and I have some action on them, but of course, UConn there. Look, the number I think is kind of low, but I think it's low for a reason. I'm leaning towards under 139.5 in that game.
They're basically telling you, first one to 70 is going to win. They're trying to give you the lean that basic math, 3.5, 4, 72-68 is the final that right around there that Vegas is trying to paint there. Can Arkansas get to 70? Hell yeah, they can. I don't know if either team wants to play a race to 70 or 75 here. I give a slight lean to UConn on the defensive end. And I had said for a long, long time, listen, this UConn team is going to go as far as Jordan Hawkins takes them and as well as Sonogo plays. And they've both been playing amazing ball. But now, don't forget the Must Bus in Arkansas made it to the Elite Eight last year and lost to a hot Duke team. It's almost like the same thing now as UConn's now that team. I think it's going to be a great, great game. Again, if Jordan Hawkins is not launching and hitting the threes, I kind of give a slight lean to Arkansas here.
Me too, honestly. And like when you look at kind of what they've been through so far in this tournament, even their first round matchup, the score sheet dictates that it might have been lopsided, but that didn't happen until the final 4 or 5 minutes of that game. It wasn't always that wide of a margin. Then you look at their matchup against Kansas. I don't know about you, Jeff, but when it comes to March Madness, when it comes down to the team that had the 1 point, 2 point, 3 point victory, some people will say, well, they barely got there. They barely got it done, right? You know what I say? They have killer instinct. They did get it done. They were the team that was able to finish games. And honestly, you got to throw it all out the window when it's a one game winner take all. We're not talking about a best 4 out of 7, right? We're not talking about a 3 out of 5 series. This is one game. And do you think that Arkansas is scared of the moment? I don't think they are. I feel like they're ready to rock. And I think that game again, look, I had Arkansas plus 7.5 in game against Kansas. I was sweating that one out, let alone I'm walking to the Orlando soccer game and I get a text from my buddy. And I said to him, hey, did we cover? He goes, we won the game outright. So, I mean, I think this team definitely has it in them to keep things close. But I truly do believe that if they're going to do that, they have to be very scrappy defensively and make UConn, fight for every single basket they get. So I'll lock that in as a show play here for this show. I'm going to go under. I think it might be a little bit bold maybe with what UConn's made of, but I think under in Arkansas UConn.
No, I agree. Again, UConn's played grab ass the first 2 games, first half, and then just flex their muscles. They did it against Iona. They were down 2 against Iona and then put up a 50 burger against them in the second half and blew them out. And then against St. Mary's, they got a late 3 to get the 1 point lead, I think, at half 31-30, and again, flex their muscles in the second half. If you ask me, coaching lanes, I'll take Musselman over early any day of the week, twice on Sundays, 3 times the effect in the tournament right now. And, again, does Sonogo get into foul trouble? Arkansas, long senior leadership, good guard play, been there before. This UConn team is long, not as senior orientated, but their depth, they can go 7, 8, 9 deep. So if you're not putting up, your ass is on the bench right next to Hurley, and it's going to be one of the great games. Obviously, all these games will be real, real good.
Jeff, I got a broad question for you, and I'm curious kind of what your thoughts are on this, but some people believe that with in-game betting, you take into account what the number was before the game started. Some people believe once that game started, everything that was said before the game starts doesn't matter anymore. Which guy are you as far as that goes?
If all of a sudden someone picks up 2 or 3 quick fouls, or if you were betting a Houston game and Sasser is out for the game, there's so many stipulations. You always in the back of your mind have to remember what that opening number is, not what the closing number was, what the opening number is, and then start correlating and doing your mad science and taking a look at the numbers. Hey, is this a lot quicker pace? Just because both teams come out guns a-blazing, if the under-over was 139 and at the first 5 minutes at the first commercial, it's 13-12, well, you're pacing way the hell over. But you also got to say to yourself, listen, guys, they're not going to keep this up. So you'll get those scoring droughts. So let's just say, I'll use a perfect example. Houston is 7-point favorites, 7.5-point favorites against Miami. Let's say Miami comes out guns a-blazing and it's 13-2 Miami to start the game. Well, you're going to get a great in-game number right there on Houston. Now, you still can't forget they were 7.5-point favorites. So maybe you'll get Houston minus 1.5, Houston minus 2. People will say, well, they're down 11, Jeff. You can't forget that they opened at 7.5-point favorites.
I agree with a lot of what you just said there. And I think that sometimes you have to know when a team is dead. And I hate to even say it like that, but a good example is the game I was at, which was SDSU versus Furman. Furman was done with 5 minutes to go in that game. They weren't coming back. You could see it. They're putting in some bench players, right? That's not really the time, I don't think, to look at an in-game number. But like you said, especially totals wise, really, if a game starts super slow, you look at that opening number and immediately it's like 12 points lower than what that number was. It's hard not to jump in on the over or on the in-game over there. But it's interesting. I just ask you that because everybody has a different perspective on it. And I feel like anybody that has an opinion on it has a strong one as far as that's really concerned. And for me with the NHL, if it's what tonight, looking at the Oilers game, right? We're seeing a 7 in that game, right? When you look at games like that and you see, let's say it was like 1-0 after the first period, you might have me thinking about jumping on the over. But if there's no chances being created and things like that, then maybe I'm not. But also hockey, it's a goaltender, right? Look at what happened in the Ottawa versus Pittsburgh game 2 days ago. I don't know who that goaltender was. I'll be honest. I think he's an AHL guy. He's not a young guy. He's an older guy. He absolutely shut down. MoneyPuck.com had Pittsburgh expected goal numbers 4.07. They scored 1 goal. They ran a simulation for 1,000 games and said that Pittsburgh should win that one 74% of the time. They scored 1 goal. So it's different sports. It's different, but I couldn't believe that. I mean, in some games in hockey, you might take an in-game over because you think there should be more goals, but you run into 2 hot goaltenders. Thanks for playing.
Or you get lucky and score a goal with 1 second left to get a team total over Dallas Stars. Thank you for playing yesterday. Two games on the board tonight. You said Pens and Avalanche, obviously the highlighter. My overnight number was Avs minus 150, Penguins plus 130, under over 6.5, juiced under minus 12 cents. Currently at circa 145 on the Avs, plus 125 on the Pens, 6.5 juiced under minus 15 cents there. And then you talked about the Yotes and the Oilers. Overnight number, Oilers minus 475 with a 7 under 15 cents. Circa getting a little ballsy here. 6.5 over 35 cents. Oilers minus 490. If I followed this lead by Circa, I would write this down as a 5-1, 6-0 Edmonton win here.
Well, this game kind of reminds me of a game I had with, I think it was Colorado and Columbus as a big bet that I made a couple weeks ago. I took the over. I was debating puck line or over. Colorado won that one 6-0. This game to me has that written all over it, like you just said, where let's be honest here. I mean, we're seeing a 7 as the total, but they probably think that how often do you see a minus price on an over 4.5 team total, right? It was 125. Now it's 130. So they're pretty much telling you, if you want the puck line, you got to pay a premium for it, but it's probably going to cash. Or else, why would we be seeing a 7 as the team total? 7 as the full game total. If they really don't think that Arizona is going to be able to do anything. So I don't know. I think that this game in general is one that you have to look at the first period. Arizona, to me, had a lot lighter of a schedule over the past 4 or 5 games. And some people might not be strength of schedule handicappers. I certainly look at it. You look at a team like Pittsburgh or Colorado or Edmonton, they can't be happy looking at their performances recently. Even in games that they've won, they're winning them in typical Edmonton fashion. You should not have to score 5 or 6 goals against San Jose to win a game. You shouldn't. And if they want to be taken seriously as playoff contenders, as Stanley Cup contenders, you have to be able to have a good defensive performance. I feel like that will be the message for them. Jeff, I've locked in minus 120, 125 first period, minus a half goal. This is a good situation for it. We don't bet them that often. I don't think that hockey bettors in general look to just isolate a team to win one period. But with the back-to-back situation here for Arizona, I feel like it will hurt them. Running into a hot goaltender can really make you frustrated as well. Hellebuck shut them down. And then, of course, they're not going to get Jack Campbell tonight. They're getting Skinner. And I feel so bad for Jack Campbell. Seems like a great guy, but he's not the same as he was in Toronto. I think that first period plays the best one. Also, Connor McDavid going for goal number 60 on the year. I feel like looking at that, how funny is it that right now his numbers, Jeff, as far as the prop betting market, he's more likely to go over on his goal prop lately than he is on his shots on goal prop. A lot of that's due to the fact that when they're up on teams, they don't play him as much. He doesn't shoot the puck as much. Anybody interested, though, I know we don't talk about these too often, but I did want to mention you can do some of these like same game parlay type stuff. If anybody wants one, you can do an over 5.5 goals and the puck line for Edmonton. You get that at even money. So you're getting the total down. You're getting Edmonton to win on the puck line. You're getting plus 100. If you throw in McDavid to score a goal on that one, you're getting plus 165.
Whoa, 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 whoa. If I asked you tomorrow, this slate's too long. The Bruins 450 against your Canadiens. Bruins a little back to reality, and then they look like the Bruins again. Tampa at Ottawa. I'm trying to find a good one for you. The Pens on a back-to-back at Dallas. Vegas at Calgary. That Calgary team. And the sad thing is this is DraftKings. I shout out to DraftKings because you go into the team totals. They go from a half a goal up to 6, 7 goals. So in other words, I can tell, like tonight, Edmonton to score. They're telling you Edmonton's probably going to score 5 goals tonight because I think their 4.5 is minus money tonight.
Yes. Which is very rare.
Yeah.
Which you never see. But this is the thing, Jeff. I know that like puck lines aren't usually great bets and it's not really a great price, but based on everything the market is telling you, aren't they telling you that the puck line is the way to go? Like, I know that we try to avoid chalk, but look at what the numbers are telling us. They're telling us that it might not go over, but Edmonton's going to cover the puck line. They're telling us that Arizona is not going to get more than 2 goals and Edmonton probably should get 5.
I'll give you 3 options. Over 6.5 minus 35 cents. The puck line minus 30 cents. Edmonton to get 5 or better minus 30 cents, 25 cents. Which one of the 3 you taking?
Well, do you think Arizona's getting 4?
No.
Because that's the only way we lose the team total, according to the puck line. If you're taking the puck line, that means you think if you're taking the team total, that means, in my opinion, you think there's a chance Arizona might get 3 or 4. If not, I think I might just take, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of like what if the Oilers win 4-1? I'd be more concerned about that happening and taking the team total than taking the puck line and seeing, because I think Edmonton gets to 4 or 5. And I don't think there's a possibility Arizona scores more than 3 goals. I don't know if they get over 2.
Is it time to get an Oiler future, or are we waiting till the brackets are set?
I'm waiting. I'm not looking at it quite yet. I'm waiting it out. I'm taking all buyers, though. Anybody that wants to join me with the LA Kings, feel free, because they're still being disrespected, even though they're second in their division.
How you feeling with the Stars?
I'm very confused by them right now because their offense is still playing very well, but their defense has kind of been a little bit MIA. So I'm just hoping and praying they don't turn into that team that realizes they can score goals and they don't need to play defense. And that's on the coaching staff. The coaching staff has to get them ready for the playoffs and playing the proper way. But if they can do it, I'll tell you one thing about the Stars is I always thought they were a team with just a few goal scorers. If they can get production from that third line, Jeff, you ever hear of a guy named Wyatt Johnston? I didn't know who he was until a few days ago, really. He's had a point in 8 straight games for the Dallas Stars. You know what that number is? -120. Just a shout.
Give us quickly the East report. What are you thinking as of today?
Well, I was worried about the Rangers that there were almost too many mouths to feed. Too many superstars. Are the superstars going to be responsible defensively? They don't even really have a third line shutdown line. Every line has a superstar on it, which can be worrisome, right? That's why Tampa Bay has done so well recently. Toronto going through some of the stress that they're going through right now, I think it's a good thing for them. I don't think they should coast into the postseason. I feel like that would almost damage them. I think they should go into even though they're going to be focused, it's almost good for them to go through some adversity, get slapped around a few times, like they did it last night against the Islanders. I'll tell you what, though, Pittsburgh, I saw somebody tweeting about how many national TV games they're getting in the States. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. I mean, this is a team that's now out of the playoff picture. It's shocking how long they were still in the playoff picture. Florida deserves to be there. They're a team that did not play well really throughout the season. They weren't doing well in third periods. They weren't a good comeback team. Very impressed by them. As of right now, to my knowledge, it's them and the Islanders in there. I think we might see Florida versus Boston round 1, which could be incredible. But I'll just say this. I think things could actually pretty much stay the same place that they are right now, but home ice is huge. Montreal beat Tampa Bay yesterday. Shockingly enough, that could be a difference between who gets home ice, Toronto or Tampa. Right now, teams are playing for home ice, Jeff, and I think other than that, things might stay the exact same way they are right now.
Wouldn't that be justice? The Florida Panthers, the President Cup last year, see ya round 1, and now they get to do the same thing to the Bruins.
It's the curse, the President's Trophy curse. That would be unbelievable. But here's the thing, Allmark, though. Allmark is different than what Florida was throwing out.
I agree. I can't wait. I've had the crawler going on, as always, the whole time. If you're not following him, please go over to McInnis Picks, go over to Wager Talk, jump on Sports Mayflower, go over to YouTube, subscribe. It's free. Andrew, tell everyone where they can go and get all your information and your packages and all that good stuff.
Yeah, well, I'll hold myself responsible right now for the viewers and give my 2 best bets. We'll go with that under in the UConn game coming up in a couple of days. And also I'll say Edmonton first period -0.5. My best bets here for the show. UFC. Last week, I cashed not 1, but 2 plus 195 underdog wagers. Not someone that just bets the big favorites. We're doing it all. We're betting totals. Another big slate going on this Saturday. So I remind people to check that out. Join me for not just 3 days or 7 days. Grab a month pass. You get everything in advance. College basketball, it'll be a big day on Thursday. And NHL, well, you pretty much heard everything I like already. So let's cash some tickets.
The one and only Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks and at Wager Talk. We can't thank you enough. Always a pleasure, especially on vacation, taking a little time away from the pool. Enjoy Disney. Obviously, tomorrow we're expecting a lot of pictures with Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, and Donald and all that on your timeline. So enjoy yourself. Everyone else, please watch. I think around 4:30, I'll be back with Riley for the closing bell. Behave yourselves. We'll see you soon.